Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to get actual correlation data to see and uncover what your marketing actions are doing and if that's actually driving revenue growth. So it's stuff like, hey, our weekly meetings attributed a 33% increase in membership revenue. We increased peptide revenue by almost 300% utilizing upsells techniques, and we noticed a 10%, almost 10% increase in tracked revenue after we implemented kind of all the marketing actions that we took during this time frame. So what I'm going to teach you is called regression analysis, and really what that does is it takes a baseline KPI, so the normal ones like how many booked appointments, how many leads, how many new members, how many new customers, sales per service, like how many peptide sales you got, how many BHRT sales you got, what was the revenue, right? What that does, what regression analysis really does is it takes independent and dependent variables and sees if there's a strong correlation with whatever you're doing to revenue growth, right? So for instance, does calls really make a positive impact in revenue, right? A lot of people think it does, and I'm here to say it does, but do we actually know? What a regression analysis will do is see the correlations, how strong it is, so we can have a North Star to point to in terms of, hey, we should probably focus on this because this is attributing to 30% growth. We should cut everything that isn't strongly correlated to revenue growth and just do this one thing, and we'd probably triple our investment, right? So it's stuff just like that. So I'm going to show you the prompt that I'll use, and I use ChatGPT. And funny enough, this is what I got my master's in, is marketing, and we had to do regression analysis the old way. This, quite frankly, makes it super easy, right? So you're going to take a sheet of data, and you guys can, I'll provide this as an example, but you're going to take the sheet of data and upload this to ChatGPT with this prompt. So I'll actually provide this, but I'm going to read a little bit of it for context. So I have marketing data for location 1 that includes metrics like leads, cost per lead, calls, appointments, new customers, etc. Highlight positive growth. Identify any increases in revenue, calls, appointment, memberships, etc. Emphasizing strong correlations between calls to revenue, sales training, membership growth, and provide example metrics like for every 10 additional calls, clinics see a X in revenue growth, right? Stuff like that. Key positive correlations, focus on specific actions, CRM implementation, sales training, all that stuff, and provide actionable insights to this. Investing in specific location results in long-term revenue growth, right? So just outline all this stuff. And the thing that I'll add in here is it's easy to fall in the trap of just, black and white KPIs, but also add the intangibles too. So I'm going to add after, and to give you even more context in this data subset, I've included dates where it's the baseline period. So this is the period that was before us taking over marketing. So anything after that is, through our efforts. So I'm going to say this in the baseline period. In the baseline period, there was no sales training for their team. After we took over marketing, we met weekly with their team to teach appointment setting and sales. Factor that in. Additionally, after we took over marketing, we created strategics authority funnel pieces of content for ads to push leads down the sales cycle for a buying decision. So I'm going to add that because that's also something that is part of marketing, right? But I want to know the correlation between that. So I'm going to upload the sheet of data and let ChatGPT do its thing, and we'll see what it comes up with. All right, so it analyzed the data, so I'm going to ask it, can you please give me a marketing analysis write-up based on your findings? All right, so we're gonna look at this. So we can see here revenue growth and key metrics. Post-marketing data shows a significant uptick in total track revenue and return on ad spend. Cool. A remarkable increase of 29 calls per week. That's great. Here's a good one. For every 10 additional calls, clinics can experience an approximate $1,200 increase in tracked revenue. So what if I told you for every 10 calls you make $1,200? You're probably going to make those calls, right? After sales training, we saw an increase on average of 20% improvement of new membership signups driven by improved staff communication skills, right? Also growth opportunities, right? A subset of BHRT leads remained unbooked, and just because I looked at this, if we fix that, we can potentially see an increase of revenue by 15 to 20%, right? So it gives you a breakdown on kind of the correlations, the bottlenecks, and whatnot, and you can literally ask, hey, based on this data, what should the clinic focus on for optimal growth? Also, what's a percentage of growth after we took over marketing, sales, and revenue? Just go like that, right? All right, so after taking over marketing, the clinic experienced the following growth. Sales growth, 72.79% in total sales. Revenue growth, 102.74% in tracked revenue. And we see here areas for focus on for optimal growth: BHRT and peptides, high margin, greater revenue if unbooked leads are addressed, upselling techniques are enhanced. We can see 15 to 20% growth. Memberships, promoting memberships as recurring revenue stream should be prioritized. Let's see here. Sales training, continue refining weekly sales training, focusing on advanced techniques, right? So it just tells you what to focus on based on the wins, based on the regression analysis initially to see what efforts are correlated with revenue growth. Hopefully this was valuable to you, and hopefully this gives you an insight on how you can utilize regression analysis to point you in the right direction or point you towards the actual plan for growth. We'll see you on the next one.